Welcome back to Alien Wisconsin. I'm your host, Ian Stephen. Today we have an exclusive interview with a woman who saw a UFO. We're going to be taking the show on the road to interview her in person, and her story has a surprise twist. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button. It really helps out a small channel like Alien Wisconsin. Thank you.
My name's Audrey Langer. I'm an artist. I've been an artist since I was a little kid, and I could pick up crayons and color around the house and get in trouble. I grew up in Chippewa Falls in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the Chippewa Valley. I've always been kind of a naturalist. A Girl Scout counselor, lived in the woods. There was a lot of outside time, playing in the woods, running barefoot, strawberries picking, getting pickers in your feet from the sandburst, stuff like that. It was the fall of 1979. It was in September. I remember there was leaves on the trees. It was crisp, but not like winter cold. I was a senior in high school, and I was a very busy teenager with all school activities. And one of my friends had gotten his girlfriend pregnant, and I was hanging out with them. So that is where I was before this happened. I had walked over to my friend's house. I was walking home on Birch Street in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which you can tell that I'm a country girl because I thought Birch Street was really too busy to walk on. It was only a 2-lane road. So I went one street over to Omaha Street, which is by Dell's Pond in a cemetery, but I wasn't frightened because my girlfriend lived on that street. So just walking along, happy as can be, when all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking, and I'm like, what's going on? And I looked up and I went, oh no. And I saw this flying saucer with like lights going around it and a light, like a searchlight coming down. I heard it before I saw it, but it wasn't a loud sound. It was more like a That's what scared me. Remember that hum, and that it upset the neighbor dogs, and then when I saw it, it upset me. And all I could think of is if I run, they're going to get me. So I walked really, really fast. And I walked so fast that when I got in the door, I was like, my mom's like, were you doing drugs? Were you drinking? Because I'm a teenager and I'd been at my friend's house, and I'm like, no, I saw a UFO. And she's like, And then she turned on WEAU 13 and the news was on, and it said, over the Chippewa Valley tonight, there has been a flying saucer sighted. People reported seeing it from Eau Claire to Chippewa Falls. And then my mom's like, oh. She did change her mind. My mother had seen a UFO hovering over our house on Oakland Street in Eau Claire when I was younger. But I was a little kid, and I just kind of thought she was nuts. So the tendency to be skeptical is very strong. But then she was like, oh, well, I saw one too, and then retold me the story, because that must have happened when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and at this point I'm 17, and 17-year-olds don't pay that much attention to their mother's stories. Back then, you were crazy if you said you saw a UFO. No one would believe you. They would just think you're nuts or you're making up a story. I believe my mother and I saw approximately the same sort of UFO sighting. This image stayed in my collective unconsciousness, and about 20 years later, I still could see it like vivid, like it just happened, like a snapshot. And so I painted it. I drew this with charcoal on pastel paper with pastels, which is a chalky pigment, and I don't know, I thought that would convey the vibrancy of what I saw, because even though it was dark outside with the lights and the flying saucer and there was a red barn and there were little dogs barking, I still had all that vibrancy in my head. So the pastels were a good medium to portray that. I think from seeing the UFO, I realized that the world is way bigger than I could ever imagine, and there are things that I do not know the answer to. And so it opens me to all those possibilities. I think the climate on UFOs has changed considerably. I posted this UFO painting on Facebook this weekend to talk about this interview coming up, and my friends are so curious and so excited and so supportive. I don't think they would have been back in 1979. It's way opened up. I would tell a 17-year-old girl in 2024 who saw a UFO to take out your cell phone and take pictures, but walk really fast home.
Well, that's our show for tonight, with a special thanks to Stephanie, our producer, and to Audrey for being so generous with your time. And of course, thanks to our audience. Your voice, your curiosity, and your courage help us navigate towards understanding this phenomena.